All right, Spurs beat the Jazz 126 to 109. If you look at the score, you probably thought it was a blowout, but it was actually a pretty close game if you had a chance to check it out. We'll get to the player stats here in a second. This is the lead chart. The purple is Utah, the black is the Spurs, of course. So this was Utah's two little leads for the entire game. They led at two different points in the first quarter. Then the Spurs had the lead and were in control of the game for all the rest of the game. Spurs were up 15 in the second quarter right here. Utah was able to chisel into the lead. They actually tied up the game in the fourth quarter. Spurs put Jeremy Sohan in. Sohan only played like 4 minutes, but he kind of changed the pace of the game. Spurs got up like 7 points by the time he came out. Then De'Aaron Fox and Wembanyama just closed out the game, and Spurs end up winning by, was it 17 points? End up winning by 17 points by the time the game was over. So it was a good game by the Spurs overall. We do get the 15-point lead, and I guess you could say we blew the lead. The Jazz were able to tie the game up in the fourth quarter, but if you look at the best point differentials in the NBA, we are number 5 in point differential. So I hear a bunch of Spurs fans, myself included, I guess it is fair. We will get big leads and kind of blow those bigger leads and let teams come back and beat us. We lost the game to the Rockets. I think Minnesota walked us down a 17-point lead, and Minnesota was able to catch back up and beat us when we're up 17 points against them. So I do kind of get that. We do kind of blow big leads from time to time, but at least we're able to get the big lead in the first place because last season we weren't able to even do that. And then, again, we're still number 5 in point differential. We're winning games by about 5 points per game on average. The only teams ahead of us are Pistons, Thunder, the Celtics, and the Rockets. So it's just us and a bunch of elite teams at the top of the league in point differential. So I do get it. I do watch us get big leads and kind of blow the leads from time to time. Like the Timberwolves game again, we were up 17, and we felt like we should have won the game. But at the end of the day, we're still top 5 in point differential, so we're still an elite team. We're gonna get better at holding leads, but we're still doing great. It's not like it's a huge thing that's just destroying the season. We're still number 2 in the West, but Utah is 109. We have the 126. So again, we win by 17. Utah is the 44 rebounds. We have 41. Yusuf Nurkic is just a big old beast down there. Filipowski got a good amount of rebounds as well, if I'm not mistaken. And they're just a pretty big physical team. Utah's still missing Lauri Markkanen. And I just like what Utah's doing. Ace Bailey's a good young player. Keontae George, I think Nurkic is probably closer to 30 now, but he's just a good offensive hub for their team, and I like what Utah is doing over there. They have a good young squad. Utah is pretty much actively tanking, so we did win the game. Utah, it seemed like they were trying as hard as they could. They were trying to win the game, but once it gets to the fourth quarter, kind of like us last season, the season before, we want to stay in the game for 3 quarters. Once the fourth quarter comes around, we want to lose the game. It just is what it is, so we can get a higher draft pick. And that's kind of where Utah is at right now. Utah has 31 assists. We have the 30, so that's about a wash. I felt like we did a good job moving the ball around. We'll get to the player stats in a second, but I want to say Stephon Castle had 8 assists. I want to say De'Aaron had like 5 assists. It felt like we did a good job just moving the ball around as a team. Our offense does get kind of stagnant at times, and we did a good job just moving off ball and just playmaking for each other in this game. We have the 8 steals. They have the 5, so that's a pretty close one as well. Again, Jeremy Sohan comes in. We'll get to the player stats again in a second here. I'm pretty sure Sohan just had zeros across the whole board. He played like 4 or 5 minutes. But if y'all got a chance to watch the game, once he came in, our defense just kicked up. He kind of brings that nasty we need for the team. Jeremy Sohan is not a polite, nice guy. I say that as a compliment. We need more nasty out there, like Popovich would say. And Mitch Johnson just doesn't like Sohan's antics, or I don't know what it is that he doesn't like about Sohan, but he was starting last season. Now we just have no spot for him on the team at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like we could find some minutes for Jeremy Sohan, especially in this game. He comes in, plays like 5 minutes. Our defense just ratchets up. He played like, I want to say 7 or 8 minutes 1 or 2 games ago, and the same thing. Our defense just turns up. He's really good. He's really good, really crisp on his rotations. He doesn't have a lot of mistakes defensively. He can challenge at the rim without fouling. He can play the passing lanes really well. And, it doesn't make any sense why he doesn't get minutes. But we have the 8 steals. They have the 5 again. We did a really good job in the passing lanes. We're just a really physical is not so much the word. We do a really good job just playing the passing lanes, and we're still learning how to be better playing as a team defense and making our rotations. We'll play man, then we switch to a zone. I feel like our zone defense works pretty well, but we're still learning how to be connected as a team once we switch our defensive schemes. We have the 11 blocks. Utah has 3 blocks. Wemby had probably at least 3 on his own. He had one where he just snatched that shit out of the air. It looked like a 2K game. It was so sick. Carter Bryant had one. That was the same possession. Carter Bryant gets a block. Ball pops back up. I want to say Filipowski gets in the paint, and Wemby snatches his shot out of the air. So did a good job protecting the paint this game. We have the 10 turnovers. Utah has the 16, so we won the turnover battle. Stephon Castle's the main guy I'm usually looking at when I'm worried about our turnovers because he averages the most turnovers for our whole team. And just from the eye test, you can see Stephon Castle, he just turns the ball over a lot, and he's a sophomore year player, so he's still going through his growing pains, and it's going to be okay. But I think he only had 1 turnover this game. Again, we'll get to the player stats in a second, but off the top of my head, I think he only had 1. And if we can have 10 turnovers or less, that's always a good game as far as taking care of the ball, in my opinion. We shoot 51% from the field. Utah's 48%. We're 42% from 3. Utah's 40%. Both teams are pretty much 84% from the line. So again, we win by 17 points, but if you were watching the game, though, it was a really, really close game pretty much throughout the whole game, and it was definitely a fun game to watch. Moving on to the player stats. De'Aaron Fox had an awesome game. We'll get to De'Aaron in a second here. Harrison Barnes, if you watch my videos, you already know how I've been feeling about Harrison Barnes lately. I've lost all my faith and confidence in Harrison Barnes, to be totally honest. The past 20 games before this game, it's not a small sample size. I did all the math on it, but the past 20 games, he's shooting 22% from 3 the past 20 games. This game, he's 0 for 4, so that didn't get any better. He's probably 21.5% from 3 now for the past 21 games. He only makes 1 of his 5 shots. I want to say he probably drove in and got a layup, like attacking a closeout or something. Harrison is -5. Our entire starting lineup. De'Aaron Fox was the worst one with +13, and Harrison was somehow -5. He has 1 rebound and 1 assist. I like Harrison Barnes. I think he's good as a locker room presence. I think he should definitely go to the bench now, and we should play him. Let him come in off the bench if he knocks down 1 or 2 threes. Let him get more minutes. If he's 0 for 2, 0 for 3, then cut his minutes down and put somebody else out there because we're just hurting ourselves. We're still the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, so it's not like we're doing bad as a team, but we're playing through Harrison Barnes. Is that the right word? We're overcoming Harrison we're overcoming Harrison Barnes's struggles, but he's not helping us as a team, and it just makes no sense for us to keep him in the starting lineup. Again, he's 22% from 3 for the past 21 games. Sohan gets 0 minutes. Of course, I'm always coming back to Jeremy Sohan, but start Carter Bryant, start Jeremy Sohan. Carter Bryant's still a rookie, but my main point is when Harrison Barnes isn't knocking down 3 balls, he's not really giving you very much at all. He's not a very good rebounder. He's not a very good playmaker. He doesn't attack in transition. I don't know if I already said it, but he's not a great defender. We're with Champagnie. If Champagnie's 3 ball is off, at least he gives you some rebounds. He's a solid rebounder. This game he gave us 3 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, a block. So Champagnie gives you better defense, better rebounding. Not a great playmaker, but he is better at playmaking than Harrison Barnes, and he's just such a 3-point threat that he just helps us space out the court. And Harrison Barnes, he was that early in the season for us, but now he's just fallen off a cliff again. 22% for the past 21 games. It's really, really bad. Champagnie was 5 for 9 this game. I felt the same way about Champagnie probably like 7 or 8 games ago because he was on a cold streak. but he's completely came back. He had that game where he makes 11 threes. He had a game where he made 8 threes. I think it was just last game he made 8 threes. He has 5 this game. He had another game he made 5 in between there. So Champagne's totally back. He's on fire again. He had a cold streak. It was probably like 7 or 8 games. So I was a little bit worried. I was at the same place with him and Harrison Barnes. I was saying, all right, I'm worried about both you guys, but I'm hopeful and confident your shot will come back. Julian Champagnie, his 3-point shots all the way back. He gives us 17 points. Again, the 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and he's just turning into one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA, to be honest. He can be a little inconsistent. Again, he had that little cold streak, but he's all the way back, and I trust what Julian Champagnie would bring for us in the playoffs, where with Harrison Barnes, you can't have a 20-game cold streak in the playoffs. If you have even a 4 or 5-game cold streak, that could be the difference between winning the series or going home. So I've lost all confidence in Harrison Barnes. We need to put it on Mitch Johnson at this point. Mitch, send him to the bench, dude. I love Harrison Barnes. He's a veteran. He's a great locker room presence. He shows the guys how to show up and work hard every day. And, I still like that from him. But as far as just basketball goes, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot having Harrison Barnes in there. We can put in, again, I keep going back to Jeremy Sohan. Carter Bryant's a rookie, but Carter Bryant could start over him in my opinion. It just makes no sense. Jeremy Sohan can start, and Jeremy Sohan can make one out of every 4 threes, because again, Harrison Barnes is shooting 22% from 3 these past 20 games. So I'd much rather have Jeremy Sohan in there. I bet he can make 1 out of every 4 3-pointers he shoots, and that's not even the point. He give us really high level defense, really high level rebounding. He can actually set screens and be a threat in the middle of the court in the pick and roll. He's a better playmaker than Harrison Barnes. He does everything better than Harrison Barnes except shooting threes, and Harrison's not even making threes right now. Sounds like I'm hating on Harrison right now, but just game after game, like 5 games ago, I was over it. He was on a 15-game cold streak. Now at this point, he's on a 21-game cold streak, and Mitch Johnson just needs to make an adjustment. Just send this man to the bench. If he gets hot again, then maybe we can bring him back in the starting lineup, but it just makes no sense right now. Moving on, Stephon Castle. He's 4 for 12. Not an efficient night, but he gives us the 16 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, only 1 turnover. So that's awesome to see. Castle's the first guy I look at when I'm looking down the turnover column, because he leads our league in turnovers. He was top 5 in the NBA in turnovers earlier in the year. I'm not sure if he's still up there, but he's one of the more turnover players in the NBA. I said earlier, he's a sophomore player. I think he was maybe having a little bit of a sophomore slump these past 10 games or so. Maybe he's still in his sophomore slump, but if you can give me 17 points, 7 rebounds, I think he's probably close to 50% shooting on the season. So I'm not so much worried about Stephon Castle. One thing about Castle, I kind of always bring it up. He'll get into the paint and he'll kind of drive into guys and just jump into the paint and hope his athleticism is going to take over. Then he just drives into brick walls. I think his shot selection isn't that great. He'll shoot threes. Every time he shoots a 3, let me know if y'all notice. It feels like he's like 1 foot behind the 3-point line every time he shoots a 3 for some reason. I feel like he'll rush 3-point shots. I kind of never want to see Stephon Castle take a 3 unless he's just completely wide open and it's 10 seconds or less on the shot clock. Otherwise, we can usually find better shots in the offense. I understand he's trying to develop his 3 and work on it, but I like him taking 3s when it's off of the ball, just swinging around the perimeter. He's the last guy in the corner. Maybe it swings around to him on the wing and there's nobody around him, but I've noticed times where Stephon Castle kind of rushes 3 balls. Even when he's wide open, he'll kind of rush his shot. I've seen him, a lot of the times he'll be off balance. He doesn't get his feet set underneath him, and that's one thing we want to see him work on more. And another thing too, we'll take some mid-range shots. His mid-range is looking a little bit better than it was last season. But the main thing I want to see from Castle, I don't care about your 3 ball. I don't care about your mid-range shot. Develop a floater, dude, and get with Tony Parker, because everything with Castle, he wants to get inside the restricted area. He wants to jump into a 7-footer and try to finish inside the restricted area, which he's pretty good at a lot of the time. I've noticed more this season. Defenses are more focused in on him, and he doesn't get those wide open lanes like he was getting as a rookie. Defenses are more focused, and they're kind of building a wall to not let him get to the rim. And sometimes he'll jump into the defense and it's a wide open door. Sometimes he jumps and just runs into a brick wall and it's just not there. And his decision making isn't so great yet as far as when he should attack the restricted area or not. But with that being said, he pretty much gets 2 feet in the paint whenever he wants. He can get right there outside the restricted area just about whenever he wants. Then the big man's just waiting for him inside the restricted area. So he can get into that floater teardrop range just about whenever he wants. He just hasn't developed a floater or any kind of shot where he can score just right there outside the restricted area. So if he could develop that, that'll open up just a whole nother area of his game, but he hasn't developed that floater. He kind of just pretty much never, or at least really rarely, even attempts floaters, which kind of confuses me. I feel like that should definitely be the next step in his, in his shot selection and his development. The three ball, it may or may not come over time. I'm sure he's working on it in the off season, but I want to see him develop a floater more than anything. Champagnie, we kind of talked about him briefly already, but he's 5 for 9 from three, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Champagnie's been awesome out there. He's our best 3-point shooter, either him or Devin Vassell, but I'd probably give it to Champagnie. Keldon Johnson's been awesome for us all season. He's so great in his new role off the bench. He's basically our 6th man at this point. But he has the 21 points, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, only the 1 rebound. The 1 rebound's kind of surprising. He's usually getting like 7 or 8 rebounds every night, it seems like, but pretty awesome game for Keldon. He does take 19 shots to score 21 points, so not great efficiency. He's still 47% from the field, but anytime you have about the same amount of shots as points, that's not so much great efficiency, but he came in and gave us a great spark. There's no way we would have won the game without Keldon Johnson. We were getting kind of stagnant in the second quarter, the third quarter, and Keldon came in and just gave us a bunch of big buckets and gave us some good plays defensively as well. He's not an awesome perimeter defender, but if he gets switched onto a center, a power forward, he can hold his ground really well, and he's not just going to get bullied down there by a power forward or a center. Keldon's been so awesome for us just all season long. Carter Bryant, he gets the 13 minutes this game. That's awesome to see. Hopefully he'll never get less than 10 minutes per game for the rest of the season. Seems like he's already too good to be getting DMPs. I feel like he should play at least 5 to 10. I'd like to see him get 10 minutes or more personally, but Carter's been awesome for us out there. He gives us the 7 points tonight, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. He gets the 1 block as well. I think it was I want to say it was on Cody Williams. It was the same possession where Wemby gets that block where he snatches it out of the air, but knocks down 1 of his 3 threes. Again, more than I can say about Harrison Barnes for these past 20 games. Again, I would like to see us start Sohan or Carter Bryant over Harrison Barnes. But anyway, the 7 points, he knocks down 1 3 on the wing. He had a nasty, it was a nasty Euro step out in the open court. He kind of catches the ball 1 dribble, hits a Euro step for a nice little finger roll. And then he had 1 other bucket that I can't remember, to be honest, but just really great defense. He's going to be an elite defender at the NBA level. He just needs to get more minutes so his defensive IQ can get higher. He can learn where to be at the right times, can learn how to play defense without fouling as well. But Carter looks like he's going to be just an amazing 3-and-D player. And he might be even more than that. He reminds me of like a young Kawhi Leonard, to be honest. So if he can develop anything like Kawhi Leonard, he should be an amazing player for us. And he just has so much potential. He has so many flashes in the minutes that he does get out there. Dylan Harper only got 13 minutes this game. I really don't understand why that would happen. Jordan McLaughlin got about 9 minutes. Those minutes should have went to Dylan Harper. Jordan McLaughlin shouldn't have played at all, to be honest. McLaughlin plays pretty okay for us in little stretches, but I was watching the game. Jordan was in there in the third quarter, and I literally thought to myself, why is this dude in the game? I was missing Dylan Harper at that point. I guess usually Dylan Harper is in the game at that point, but in my head I was thinking, why is Jordan McLaughlin out here? And he took Dylan Harper's minutes. Dylan Harper should have played 21 minutes. Jordan McLaughlin shouldn't have been out there at all. So I don't really understand that. But anyway, Dylan Harper gets a little measly 13 minutes. He has the 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks in 13 minutes. Just makes no sense. He was having a really big impact on the game, especially defensively. 3 rebounds, 2 assists in 13 minutes. Just makes no sense why he barely got any minutes. He has 1 field goal. I can't even remember what it was, to be honest, but Dylan's such a bright young player for us. He's the future at point guard for the team, of course. I've been seeing lately, he's beginning getting to that little mid-range area. I've seen him get to that step back a couple times, and his three-point shot's kind of looking better game in and game out. With Stephon Castle, like I was mentioning before, when he takes threes, he'll be like 1 foot behind the three-point line. For some reason, a lot of the time, he'll be wide open, but he still shoots it 1 foot behind the line, which confuses me. And a lot of the time, Stephon Castle won't get his feet under him, and he'll shoot threes off balance, even when he's wide open. With Dylan Harper, one thing I like with him, he gets his feet underneath him really well, and he shoots his threes on balance most of the time. And then another thing, like I was saying, he's doing a good job getting to his mid-range shot. And same thing with the mid-range, he gets both of his feet under him and gets good elevation and shoots his shots on good balance. The 13 minutes is kind of inexcusable, though. There's no reason for Dylan Harper to play anything less than, I'd say, like 18 minutes per game. That makes no sense that he only played 13 minutes. Moving on to the boys, though. Wemby has the 26 points. He's 9 for 14, 14 rebounds, 5 blocks, 1 steal, 3 assists. That's cool to see him get the 3 assists. We don't need Wemby to get 7 or 8 assists every game. I've heard people that will kind of criticize his lack of playmaking. Why isn't Wemby Nikola Jokic? Why doesn't he get 10 assists per game? We have De'Aaron Fox. We have Dylan Harper. We have Stephon Castle. Keldon Johnson can play make a little bit as well. So we have all these guards out there that can play make and get assists for the entire team. Wemby, we'd rather have him being on the receiving end of assists than being the guy that has to be an offensive hub like Jokic. Wemby, he can play off ball, he can catch and shoot, he can catch lobs, of course. He can do all sorts of stuff off ball. He's a better off ball player than Nikola Jokic, needless to say. So they're just two different play styles. When Wemby has 2 or 3 assists in a game, it's not like I'm thinking, oh man, you let us down, Wemby. We needed you to get 7 or 8 assists this game, because we honestly never really need that from Wemby. But he had an amazing game. He's 4 for 7 from 3, 64% from the field, 57% from 3. He's plus 19 on his plus minus. Another thing about Wemby, people would criticize him. Usually people that don't watch Spurs games, to be honest, they'll say, oh, Wemby, you're 7'6". How come you're not just right underneath the paint and just dunking every single shot you get? You should put on 20 pounds of muscle and just dunk everything and play like you're Shaquille O'Neal. It just makes no sense to me. It's like saying to Dirk Nowitzki, hey, Dirk, why aren't you just driving into the paint every single time and dunking on people? You're 7 feet tall. You should be dunking on everybody, Dirk Nowitzki. Wemby's more of a finesse player. He's put on 30 pounds of muscle since he was a rookie, so he's obviously way stronger. He obviously has more weight on him and a stronger frame, so he's playing more physical ball than when he was a rookie, playing more physical than he was playing last year. Way more physical. It's really noticeable, and Spurs fans see it. People that don't really watch the Spurs, they'll criticize Wemby for that. They might watch a game and Wemby's off. Like last game, he was 4 for 15, whatever he shot, and then they say, oh, Wemby's soft, he takes too many threes and too many jumpers, and yet he averages 25 points per game on 51% shooting. So it's not like Wemby's lack of getting into the paint is making him an inefficient player. With that being said, I don't like Wemby getting the ball outside the three-point arc too much unless he's going to catch it and shoot it. When Wemby's handling the ball outside the three-point line, it results in turnovers a lot of the time. But we've been doing a better job of letting Wemby catch the ball right there at the free throw line, right there at either one of the elbows. He turns around, faces up his defender. He can pull up a jumper right there if he wants to. He can take that one dribble going left and spin back to the right to get to his dunk packages. He can, one dribble step back for a 3. So we've been doing a better job getting Wemby the ball right there in the triple threat at that free throw line area, at the elbows, And this game, we finally did it. Like all season long, we haven't been doing it very much, and it makes no sense. But we finally saw a De'Aaron Fox, Victor Wembanyama two-man game. I saw a couple pick and rolls between those two guys. What I saw a lot, especially in the fourth quarter, was dribble handoffs. Wemby catches the ball on the dribble. He catches the ball right there around the three-point line. De'Aaron Fox comes off, and Wemby gives him a handoff. De'Aaron Fox is coming downhill, kicks it back to Wemby for a three. We just finally saw a two-man game between the two guys. There was another one. De'Aaron Fox comes off, gives Wemby a little pocket pass, and Wemby pops a mid-range jumper right there at the free throw line. We finally saw the two-man game between them. We haven't been really doing that all season long, so hopefully they can develop that and get even better at that before we get to the playoffs, because us winning playoff games, it's going to come down to De'Aaron Fox and Wemby's two-man game at the end of games, and other guys will get shots off the two-man game, but that's what we're going to be going to for the most part. We're going to have more faith in De'Aaron Fox than Stephon Castle, especially in the playoffs, and that's not a knock on Stephon Castle. That's just De'Aaron Fox being a top 10 point guard in the NBA, and it just makes no sense why we haven't been going to that two-man game way more throughout the stretch of the season. But again, they ran a pick and roll maybe once or twice in the fourth quarter. It was a lot of dribble handoffs and just handoffs in general, getting De'Aaron Fox going downhill, and it was really tough for the defense to guard. Moving on to De'Aaron Fox, finally, he's 10 for 13 from the field. He was amazing out there. He should have been 11 for 13. If y'all remember, one of the shots he missed, he's coming downhill. I think he hit a Euro step. He gets to his right hand, and he missed a right-handed layup just right there at the rim. He was really disappointed in himself. But he basically should have been 11 for 13 because that was an easy shot that he should have made that he ended up missing. But he's 6 for 9 from 3. He was on fire out there. 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He had a block, only 1 turnover. He's 83% from the free throw line. He takes the 6 free throws as well. De'Aaron Fox was amazing. He did what we pay him to do. He came out and he closed the game in the fourth quarter. He made four of his 6 threes were in the fourth quarter, and he made 4 threes in the last 6 minutes of the game. So he was just on fire out there. He did what we pay him to do. He closed the game for us. This is probably De'Aaron's his best game as a Spur. He did have the 37-point game earlier this season. He had a 25-point, 12-assist game just a few games ago, but I feel like this was his best game as a Spur. He caught on fire from 3 and knocks down 6 of his 9 threes. We were playing De'Aaron off ball. We let Stephon Castle be the point guard because if Stephon Castle is playing off ball, he can't really knock down 3 balls, so it kind of neutralizes Stephon Castle if we don't let him play on the ball. But I did like in this game, we're letting Castle play on ball, but we were letting De'Aaron Fox run off of a lot of off-ball screens, and De'Aaron Fox and Wembanyama were playing their own two-man game off the ball, and that was really effective for us. And we finally let Fox and Wemby play in a two-man game, which we haven't really been able to see too much all season, and hopefully we can see more of that as the season goes on. But De'Aaron Fox was so amazing, closed the game out for us. He was our best player out there, hands down. And it's interesting to see how Mitch Johnson was using him off ball in this game, and hopefully we can keep it up, because in my opinion, we should have De'Aaron Fox running the point guard. He can get in the paint, he can probe, he can kind of pick his spots better where he wants to take shots, because when we're playing him off ball, he's not able to probe and play that pick and roll game with Wemby and Luke Cornett and just pick his spots to take his shots. When he's off ball, he catches the ball. He's only going to have it in his hands for so long, and he has to pick his spots kind of faster and doesn't get as many opportunities to find open spots on the court. But, again, this game was promising. De'Aaron Fox was awesome off ball. We're still running a two-man game with Wemby and De'Aaron Fox. Even when Castle has the ball in his hands, just running screen and rolls, running pick and pops off the ball to just draw all that attention between Wemby and De'Aaron Fox. But hopefully we see more of that. This was just an awesome game overall for the team, and we'll see what happens in this next game coming up. But please like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 7 million subscribers. Let me know what you thought about the win. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.